Hello, and welcome back to Rausch Games on YouTube, on the internet. It has been a while. I am starting off with WWE 2K14 Universe, and this is episode Introduction. First off, we're going to take a look at what the calendar is eventually going to look like here. I will have Raw and SmackDown Monday and Friday, Superstars on Thursday, NXT on Tuesday. Not pictured on Saturday night, I will have an indie wrestling show that I'll get into in a moment. And then if you check out the Sundays, as I'm scrolling through each month, I have an NXT pay-per-view on the third week, and I have a regular pay-per-view on the fourth week. That's going to be the setup. Now, getting into what each of those means, for those of you who watched my channel last time I played through on WWE 13, you know that what did I do? Raw, SmackDown, and their shared minor show, Superstars in this case, are all kind of the top level of the company. Raw and SmackDown are each going to have somewhere between 20 and 30 superstars. Superstars itself is going to be more of a clip show. I'm thinking of just simulating the matches, maybe playing the main event, but using it as an arena to put forth story mode, like interviews and things to put forward the better rivalries going on in the industry right now. So those are going to be the very top. NXT is still going to act as the minor league. It will also have between 20 and 30 superstars. And if you saw this channel a few months ago, the titles are going to work the same way, where the NXT Heavyweight Championship, the main big guy belt, that one's going to be the one that guarantees you a roster spot on Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania each year, whoever holds it. The minor title, which I have yet to really decide on what I'm going to use for that. It might just be Zack Ryder's Internet Championship again. That is going to be the Gambler's Belt. That's the one where if you hold it heading into each of the four main pay-per-views for Raw and SmackDown, they would be WrestleMania, they would be SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and the Royal Rumble. Whoever holds the NXT Minor Championship goes to that main show pay-per-view and gets a match against a random rated 90 or above superstar. If he wins, he becomes a member of that superstar's roster. And just like last season, if these promotions ever force a roster to go over 30 members, someone will be demoted to NXT from that roster to make it even, and that person will be the one who has the lowest current momentum. So that gives you all of those rosters. That gives you my idea for Superstars as more of like just a clip show and some interviews and stuff just for story purposes. The indie show on Saturdays is something I'm going to play around with this year. I'm not going to play any matches, but what I'm going to do there is put every superstar I'm not using will be in the quote-unquote indies of the world. I'm probably going to call it like the IWC or something and laugh at myself. But those superstars, I'm going to simulate all of their matches as just a way to build their momentum. If any one of them ever has momentum that goes within the top 3 bars of the momentum bar, all the way to the right-hand side, their next NXT show, they have been invited to NXT to compete in like a tryout match against a random NXT star. And if they win, they get a contract and they become WWE property. However, to keep the status quo in check, every time this happens, the lowest momentum ranked member of the NXT roster will be fired and sent to the independent roster and only wrestle on Saturdays. It's going to be weird. And it's going to get really crowded, so it might not happen all that often, but I'm going to play around with it for a while. The NXT pay-per-view will most often match up with the WWE pay-per-view on those Sundays. The only case where this is different is that I will offset the Royal Rumble by 6 months. So for NXT, their Royal Rumble will be in July. Their WrestleMania pay-per-view will be the next month in August. This is only so that when I was playing through, as you can see, I'm playing a universe mode match here. I was just kind of messing around with it and getting to see how it works for 2K14 this year. I noticed that when I did them on the same weekend, the computer couldn't keep track of which roster's Royal Rumble winner was which. It would only pick the latest one. So if like on Saturday, somebody from NXT won a Royal Rumble match, and then or the next Sunday, I should say, somebody from Raw won the Royal Rumble, the only one that really counted was the most recent, the Raw winner. So to stop that from happening, I'll just do one part of the year and one the other part. So in July, NXT gets the Royal Rumble. In August, they get their WrestleMania, so their Royal Rumble winner goes on to a title match, and you still get the rivalry out of it. And then in the Raw and SmackDown rosters, the months are the same, January and like March, April, whatever. The other thing I switched was to make sure that NXT's Money in the Bank pay-per-view, that one is going to be offset by about 6 months, and the cash-in has to happen within those 6 months. So there's not going to come a time on either roster where somebody's holding the briefcase for a full year, unless I decide that NXT doesn't need a Money in the Bank pay-per-view 1 year, whatever. We'll figure that out as we come to it. So that is going to give you the lowdown on pretty much everything I have. It was a really brief one this year. I mean, the last season, when I did this a few months ago when I was still pretty regular making videos, it was like a 45-minute introduction video. I'm not going to make you sit through that again. Go back and check that out if you want to have the real details on the way that I promote people from NXT up to the main roster. But here, it's going to be the same thing. Your main belts are that. Another difference, now that I remind myself, Tag Team Championships and the Divas Championship for the NXT, they will also be promoted as part of WrestleMania weekend. I'm not going to do separate pay-per-views again, and it will just be a once-a-year thing. The tag team will be promoted as a tag team so that I keep even tag matchups throughout the different levels I have here. To keep it even in NXT, I think I'm going to have to do it like the first match of the next Raw after WrestleMania. The two lowest ranked tag teams from Raw and SmackDown will face in just, a single tag match, and whoever loses, that whole team will be demoted to NXT to replace the new guys that came up as part of WrestleMania weekend. So that's how we'll do that. And it's going to be the same thing with the Divas. The NXT Women's Champion, she's going to come straight up to Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania, and I don't know if I'm going to need a match, but somebody will have to be demoted even if the roster hasn't reached 30 people, just so I can keep an even number of women at each level, because there's something of a premium in this game, and I still want their division to be competitive. I don't want it to just be like Oksana sitting in NXT holding the belt by herself for 8 years. I think that's kind of dumb. So that's everything I have planned. It's going to be a lot of fun. I have some stories in mind already as time goes on. You can see in the ring here on NXT, I've got the Rausch and the Great Khali dominating Zack Ryder and Christian. That's Rausch's new gear for this year. I'm going to have other threads for him, but I'm working on other stuff right now. Still trying to unlock everything. So in the meantime, as I'm unlocking everything, I have a little bit of a contest for you guys that, because you have remained subscribed to me throughout my time away from my channel, I am going to say, man, we just killed it. I'm going to say that if you want to have anybody in my universe mode, 1 week from today, I'm going to stop taking judgment on this, but between now and then, I want you to tell me what your absolute coolest thing you've done in 2K14 is. There's no right answer, but I'm going to pick 5 answers that I think are the best. Those 5 people are going to get into my universe mode. 4 of them, your created wrestlers. If you have them, they are going to end up in the Indies roster. Number 5, the champion, the grand champion, is going to end up immediately on the NXT roster and doesn't have to worry about that whole competing in the Indies thing. So get at me. Let me know what your coolest thing you've done so far is. I'm back. I'm making videos. They're all going to be 2K14 until I get some more time for other stuff. And I owe you guys another video explaining where I've been. In the meantime, Rausch here, Rausch out, going to the gym. Bye-bye.